Good morning, everyone. This is our presentation third day, and today's my topic is romantic literature poet Byron, Lord Byron, and I doing the share my screen. Lord Byron is a rom- romantic literature poet. Lord Byron was one of the most revered British poet in the 19th century and a key figure of the Romantic movement. When Byron was 10 years old, his uncle died, giving him the title of Byron and granting him to a largest established first published poem were written when he was only 14 years old. His mother said for him, he has a no instant course that I know but love, disparate in love, the worth of all measure in my opinion. He was educated in Cambridge College. He was a leading figure of Romanticism. When he was 21 years old, he became a member of a House of Lords. Revolutionary British poet Lord Byron wrote a many poetry. Byron's first published volume of poetry, however, in interest appeared in 1807, his famous prize, including She Walks in Beauty, The Curse of Melville's, and When We Two Parts. Byron was a leading figure of the Romantic movement. His specific ideas about life and nature benefited the world of literature. He successfully used black version and satire in his prize to explore the ideas of love and nature. All thought he is known as a romantic poet. His poem the Prisoner of Collins and Darkness were attempt to discuss reality or as it is without ending fictional elements. Some popular poems are She Walks in Beauty, Darkness, There Be No of Beauty's Daughter, The Even of Waterloos When We Two Parties, and As Young and Fair. Lord Byron impact in future literature. Lord Byron inquired literature ideas, both new prefixes of English literature, his distinctive writing approach and experimentations which epic and lyric made him stand out even among the best poets. His narrative and lyrical works are regarded as masterpieces and hence significant impact of generation. He successfully documented his idea and feeling about historical tragedy and romanticism in his writing that even today writers try to imitate his equine style, consider him a become for writing poetry. This is our some. This is our the masterpiece of Lord Byron. Child Holger's Pilgrimage is a poem, Byron's first literary successful poem. In 1809, Byron started on a tour of Europe, and the poetic result of this trip were the first two contents of child heroics pilgrimages with their famous described on romantic sincere. This work made him intimately popular. As he said himself, I awoke one morning to find myself famous, and presently he styled himself. The forced elements of Byron at this time was the Insignificance has continually posing as the hero of his poetry. This poem are publishing in 1812, decided discredited to Charles Halley, consisted of four contents: the travel of a world very young man, a child, a young man who was a candidate for kindhood, colorful descriptive of explore nature, a lyric exhalation of freedom, lonely hero. This is our some next work of done by Don Lord Byron. This is our longest poem after John Milton. Dungeon's satirical poem based on the legend of Don Juan, poetical link Jane don't not as a womanizer, but some as a someone's easily scheduled by women. This is a Byron masterpiece, longer poem after John Milton, social, political, literary, ideological levels. Two first, con- two first contents were publishing anonymous is completed in 16 contents, leaving the 17th unfinished. Byron's death, the real tragedy of Byron's life, is that he died just as he was beginning to find himself. In 1824, Byron went to Greece to give himself and a largest part of his fortune a help that country in that struggling for liberties against the trunks. How how far he was leading by him desire for posting as a hero. The Greeks welcomed him and made him a leader. He died of fever in 1824, one of the last ones returned there on his 36th birthday, a few months before he died, expressed his once view and his disappointment life. My days are in the yellow leaf, the flower and fruit of love are born, the warmth, the crate, and the grief are mine alone. Thank you.
Yes, questions?
Sangeeta, we already know that Byron is a romantic poet, but how can we identify any poet to be a romantic or not?
Because Byron's work are can identify that.
Uh, in your presentation, so.